Good morning, Overland Park. A special good morning goes out to the Overland Park LDS Ward Devils and the Olathe LDS Ward Devils. They think it's going to be evil till they're in the middle of it. And you know, there is some solace in knowing that there's, you know, a group of these people all part of something attacking me, but, you know, it isn't the usual attack. Regardless of whether anybody hears me or not. Right. You know, they attack people and they turn them into pedophiles and other shit. Sickos. At a minimum, they're willfully ignorant. Like they know what they're doing, but oh no, we're saving everyone. What a fucking joke. Well, if you didn't want to live in my interview room, you shouldn't have done what y'all did. Welcome to my interview room. Questions are being posed all day around them. Well, we got money, and they're giving us more money. Yeah, enjoy your money, all of you. What a waste of time in church for all of them. What a waste of a church. I don't even think it's real. Oh, yeah, we're really holy and chaste, brother. Found another fake one. Oh, you came to do this to us. We can tell. No, I came to live my life, just like everywhere else. I used to say, you know, they say, it doesn't really have anything to do with you. It's everyone else. Like, what? I'm asleep. I don't know what you're saying. Wake me up. Wake me up. Now they're awakened, and this is what they do with their awakenedness, huh? Oh, we were testing you, brother, to see if we can leave you around our kids, brother. It's a scam. It's a psyop. To cause people's minds to fail and to touch children and do things to children inappropriately. That's just one use of it, but that's one use of it. Oh, they're very dangerous people. So are the cops that are with them. Got to be some cops. They wouldn't do it if the cops weren't part of it. You know, they live deep in sicko land, believe me. Deep in sicko land. Like Trump should know what it is, because sometimes Trump will say something, it looks like he knows that it might effectuate. Right. Trump probably knows about spells. You go to church, they start casting sexual spells on you. Well, we're just testing it, brother, to see if you'll do it. The LDS Inquisition. Yeah, it's pretty much inquisitory, but I suspect that's what the Inquisition was, causing people to fall. Again, Rabbi Yeshua ben David said it about the Sanhedrin. They were causing people to fall and not entering into God themselves. So yeah, that the New Testament is really oral Torah, and it doesn't say what the churches say it says. Because if it says what it's supposed to say, then the churches are condemned, especially the church leaders. So that's why it doesn't say what it's supposed to say. Thank you, Larry. Thank you, sir. Like the closest thing, and like for law enforcement officers, the closest thing to it to help explain. I guess there's some other stuff, but Hashem has me use this example because everybody's seen it. You go to the police academy, and like a man and a woman, if you have a co-ed one, most do, a man and a woman will go off to study, and you know they're having sex. But they're just, playing it like they're just study buddies, and they're married and stuff, They go to the academy just to have sex, or even on assignment. It happens. So those same people, when you go on assignment, right? Thank you, Larry. Oh, I know it's there. I mean, because I was with this woman, and I don't know. I didn't think we were gonna have sex, but again, yeah, I wouldn't have sex on assignment. I'm married, but like after I was going to go into her room after we went to dinner, but I guess I think that's what she thought. Why be trying to have sex? We never did anything. Not to say I was thinking of sex. It's just that's the thing that people do. So I know. In other words, I'm saying I know the thing, right? I saw it. Now, when I saw it, I was asleep. So I didn't know, that it was a thing. They're probably the same way. If they're cops, they went to the academy, had sex, cheated on their wives and husbands. Go on assignment, away from home, do the same thing. And then just deny it and act, oh no, we're just studying. Oh, we're just going over the case. Yeah, you chased my ass. Of course, they want to unchase my ass. I know what they're doing. Trying to make gay people and make pedophiles. We could have let you in more if you wouldn't have said anything. Yeah, right. Big scam. Big scam. But we're good people, more. We're good people. Yeah, right. This is pretty neat. How I slept pretty deep and pretty late this morning. It's pretty good. Well, this is the kind of sleep I was hoping to get. Borrow an immigrant arrest. What the hell is that? You can't do that. It's just like telling a law enforcement officer that they can't arrest somebody that looks suspicious, or interview, should I say. They're calling it arrest. I don't know if you're arguing the case right. It's a field interview. You're allowed to field interview people that look suspicious. Oh, I see. Yeah. Maybe you're not. But I'm thinking you're just doing roundups. I guess you're allowed to check. You got to search and see. Yeah. The idea is you have to have probable cause to ask for identity. I guess you have to identify what a probable cause is. What you do is you come up with a cheat sheet of probable cause. If they exist as they exist. Oh wait a second. Yeah, I didn't think about that. If the place, it's probable cause. If the place is known to hire illegal immigrants, there's no way to do it. You have to go there and interview each person. The probable cause is the fact that the place, this is what I think they're talking about. So if you go to a workplace, because that's a type of investigation that you do. You have to articulate that you not only arrest immigrants, you arrest the employer. you have to articulate, because that's not only immigration violation, that's larger law. It's considered a larger law. So you have to interview each person, and if while you interview the person, you're ascertaining whether they're in it. Now, as far as Home Depot, I don't know. That might be, if they run, you're allowed. That's probable cause. If they run, that's probable cause. It only affects a small number of your arrests. So what I would do is come up with a cheat sheet. If A exists, does B exist? If B doesn't exist, then nothing you can do. But you can, you're allowed to walk around them. You're allowed to come back second time. You're allowed to your cells run. Any ruse you want. If they run, they run. Now, don't like spend like we do with me, 20 years trying to make me run. Right. Well, if we knew where they were, we'd destroy them. It only affects a small number of your arrests, because the word is probable cause. Now, the judge may have a problem with the probable cause. You're allowed to go, but part of an investigation, this is a different type of investigation. If you're investigating an employer that's hiring undocumented immigrants, then you're allowed to interview the employees to ascertain their citizenship status, so you know what to charge. And in that process, that's a collateral arrest. The Home Depot would be probably like when you roll up in a Home Depot and you're standing outside. That would be one, if they're not working in the Home Depot, they're not even doing it. But they run, so that's probable cause. Well, no, the officers are not required to not interview a person. Because remember, you're not arresting simply because they're present at Home Depot. Well, the Home Depot is a place that undocumented immigrants frequent. Okay? You roll up, they run, that's probable cause. No officer, whatever the enforcement is going to think that that's normal and say, because they'll get on the radio and say, got a runner, let's interview. Got to interview. You could have just murdered somebody last night. I mean, you don't know what they're doing. They don't have to be. Like the citizens that run, what are they doing? They're probably throwing some dope or something you didn't see. Right. So the way the court, I believe the court structured it is that you can't arrest anybody without probable cause. It doesn't mean you can't interview, with even reasonable suspicion or probable cause. Well, again, I think some of the cases that you're doing, you took them in, and then, so you have to do the process while you're in the field interviewing. Right. You have to speed up your process. You have to have, be sure before you take them in, instead of working on it after you take them in. Right. Sweet are these. That really affects a handful of arrests. Determines probable cause. Now that's arrest. They said you have to. So you're allowed to interview, but you have to. You probably should make sure that you have a reason to interview. Running is a reason to interview. Now the way the news article words it is a scam. So the way the news article reads it is a scam. Or, yeah, writes it. That doesn't affect a whole lot of rest. You're allowed to do a workplace turn up if you know that that's what you're dealing with, but you're going to have to charge the owner in some way, because that's where your probable cause is. It's probable cause to interview the employees if you're investigating the hiring of undocumented immigrants. They don't have an expectation of privacy as far as you ascertaining whether they're undocumented. And at that point, anything's possible. Now, if the person's an immigrant in the process, I don't know I don't know if the court would allow you to arrest that person. But again, it's actually a narrow band of people you run into. Well, because if somebody's here undocumented and they're in the process, and then you cancel the process after you take them in, and they were simply working a place that was lawful, you probably lack probable cause to arrest, because the point of taking them in is the arrest. That's where if A is true, is B true in certain situations. If B is not true, they can't do anything. If B is true, then you can detain or whatever. Trying to overwhelm me. So when I got real sick, I just, to make sure, out of abundance of caution, I go to a therapist. I always, like an online therapist, I always do that, so I can take, because what happens is they unfocus me. So I need a therapist just to keep me. It's like kind of like a peer coach almost. That's how I use a therapist. And the government pays for it because it's a therapist, or the insurance pays it. Yeah, I learned that in my divorce. Of course, over the years, they were able to unfocus me enough that I forgot about it. I couldn't get divorced till I went to somebody. Right. And then it started moving, and then I stopped going, but I still got to the divorce, but it took a little while. Because they're willing you down. So, two touching in agreement. That's pretty much what a therapist is for me. Because they're isolating me, right? Oh, they've isolated me for decades. They'll go to hell, believe me. Big time hell. They're way past our darkness hell. Right? Well, it's not really that big what they said. They're playing it up largely. It doesn't say that you can't arrest people. It says, at first that's the headline, but then it says, probable cause has to exist, which, so it's probably just a smaller portion of what you're doing. It says arrest. It doesn't say interview. So if probable cause doesn't exist, okay, so you go into a workplace and you go, to round up the undocumented immigrants. it's not arresting them when you interview them, and you have to interview them for the case to ascertain the number of undocumented immigrants that this employer employed. So it's not what the headline was saying, like the moratorium on arrests, like group arrests. Well, for probable cause to interview somebody as to whether they're an immigrant, all you need is a known number of undocumented people that work there. And it could even be one, I guess, but I would make sure there's a few. And then you can interview everybody when you get there. You can even interview the citizens, if they're citizens, to say, do you have any knowledge that undocumented people are working here? Do you believe that the boss knew that these undocumented people were working here? So again, when you interview them, the way to do it is just be assertive. Never stop your direction of an interview. Like, they'll say, nobody undocumented works here. Go, do you, when you're speaking to that person, make sure they know you know the undocumented people working here, and that they know undocumented people are working. Just because well, did you know that the undocumented people were working here? No, I said none are working here. All right, just keep pushing in that direction and see what they say. Well, obviously, you know. Right. Well, I didn't know we were gaying people in the church. Oh, obviously, you know. The money's too good not to be that. Right. That's only a small number of arrests. You're allowed to do workplace arrests. You just have to have probable cause to arrest. They can't require probable cause to interview. I agree. Thanks, Larry. Agreed, Larry. Cursing me so bad. Everything's falling on the ground. But I'm going to start moving stuff out of here. I got to get these cabinets empty. Oh, wait, I have to get this cabinet. Well, actually, I like this cabinet here. I'm going to wait. The day of the move, I didn't move one of my kitchen carts over because it's just a little more work to get into the van. And I rolled it into the apartment, and I put it right behind my treadmill. It's like my television set, my big screen, my computer, and all that. I don't watch television, but I have a big screen that I use for a monitor, and not a big screen, but bigger than usual. A lot of people don't know they can just go get a television. And 4K television, and then my rolling desk, and then my standing rolling desk, and then my treadmill. And then behind it, I put the kitchen cart, and now I have this kitchen cart back here to put all my stuff on while I'm doing my broadcast and stuff. Bring this leaf back up. Put the leaf in the back down. Yeah, it's going to be quite an effort to get to Ohio, but Ohio. Ohio. Don't create a debt for yourself, Ohio, because you'll go to hell. And what they do is they put fake debts. They've been given power to false witness. That's where the planet is. But that false witness has power. More power than the truth. That's what you're seeing. You can imagine how angry God is. Oh no, God's not angry, more is. God would not be angry at us, we're chaste. You don't know, these are voices of people in the church. Hashem's doing it. And I don't hate these people at all. But, I'm very angry to people who tried to sexualize me, yeah. Because I don't think the voice I'm using is not part of it. That guy's not part of it. All right. He's real. That particular voice. So you might be ruling them too inside. Because they can't do anything outside. They just rule them inside. Or maybe they will. I mean, I take it in front of the 70 and get rid of them all. That's it. No more church. Bye. No, they need to be excommunicated because they're going to hell. You don't need them in your church. You can't trust them. They're devils. Okay? They're going to alter the scheme or the pecking order and everything in your church for Satan. That's what they do. Do we save children? We're tasty. We save children. They don't save children. So it's like what I say about Omar Mateen. So when Omar Mateen came up, I'm like, I wonder if he was operated. And of course, the FBI they don't admit it in public anymore because I caught them. They admit to operating Omar Mateen. I said, there it is. They operated the guy with the psychological shit that curses his head and F's his head. Then they take off. And of course, I'm sure the local police were still effing his head because that's what they do. They tell the cops never stop effing this guy or this gal. They made him gay or tried to make him gay. So I researched the psychology on it. Like, they're trying to make this guy gay. What's the effects of trying to make somebody gay? It's a sexual abuse. It's a form of sexual abuse. They're lying about it. And then they go, well, they abuse children or other people, and that's why they do it. And they just say it because most people somewhere in their life have forced another person to sex. I've never done that. I've been forced to sex, but I've never forced anybody else to sex. So you see, right? A person gets drunk and you have sex with them. I've never done that. So Omar Mateen was sexually abused with the thing they're doing to me in the church. And they've done everywhere else too. People just take money all the time. So one of the possible outcomes is like this uncontrollable violence. And that's what they did. FBI caused it. And I've surmised there was CIA involved. You have to realize there's FBI agents that aren't in the CIA, never spoke to the CIA about something, but the CIA follows them and props them up. Just like Jonathan Luna's girlfriend. I surprised that the CIA propped her up. Right. And she was from a certain type of family. Probably it's related to that. Went to a certain school. Probably related to that. I was developing a case. They knew it. And they, I guess they quote unquote punked me out. But again, it was a ton of, it was probably hundreds and hundreds of officers that took my life down. CIA, FBI, NSA. Well, because I was in Baltimore. If I was in Baltimore, they probably wouldn't even look at me. Because I could arrest them one day. I could arrest Ames, I could arrest Hansen, or at least begin a case. And obviously I was working a case that could get them arrested. So I could figure out what the hell it was. I didn't know anything. Like, who are these people? What are they doing here? Well, again, when push came to shove, Jim Spicer, they sent a message to Spicer, just let it happen. Don't say anything, you'll be okay. And it was a lie. It was bullshit. They lied to Spicer. And in that case, his wife was the weak link. She kept lying to him about stuff also. Right. Again, she's Eve ill. Right. But I know for a fact. Because Jim said, I thought you were going to do this. Because Peg said you were going to do that. I said, no. It's okay, she's lying to him. They did it to an 1811 like an idiot. But I guess the other 1811s are just, they're evil, I guess. And they go, okay, I'll kill Burke for you. I'll kill Working for you. I'll kill Larry for you. Like I said, I know nothing. Jim Spicer would walk up, I'm having a shitty day, everything's going wrong, and Chris Fleischer would say, "Oh, Larry, it's okay. It's just that your coworkers aren't courageous." I'm like, "What? What's that got to do with anything?" Jim first thought like everybody thought Jim liked him, because Jim's not a politician like in a bad way. Like he's not like Hughes, a crook, but he's working at the Marshal Service as a contract officer. He's retired state trooper, did a fabulous career, and he's a perfect guy for what I used to do because he was the executive protection guy for the governor for 8 years, like the guy that's in charge of the detail. So previous governor. So it was perfect because he used to be like he was like me. He goes places early. I don't do it anymore, but I used to go. I mean, my whole life I went places early. So he'd be like at 3 a.m. starting his detail, and the guys would come in like 4:35 or something like that. Right. But he was a good guy. We used to go early on assignments and stuff, pick up protected witnesses that were in custody and stuff. It was kind of like a mini WITSEC, in custody WITSEC thing. Right. Oh, the FBI got great service. But see, the FBI curse each other. So because I would help like a group of agents in a case with this fabulous deputy service, that you didn't get from anyone else, right? And your witnesses would, like I treat your witnesses so good, they're going to want to, really, they feel good about testifying and, how they being treated. And again, they even get a little bit of Christian, we get a little bit of Christian information and some preaching on the cassette that was playing. And sometimes they would accept Jesus. Now, we would say nothing to them, we'd just play it. And then you get to a certain part of the ride. Marshall, can I ask you a question? Yeah, go right ahead. Well, Jesus, I got some questions about Jesus. Oh, okay. Even though Jesus doesn't exist. Just So I had to pick up this guy and turn him over to DEA or something. We turned him over to DEA, and I gave him a gospel track. And they searched him and found the gospel track and then turned me in. Pieces of shit. God, I'll get it. Oh, look, I hear it. We repent of that. It was the worst thing we ever did in our career. We're sorry. So they didn't say anything about religion. Pat Menard comes up to me and goes, "You can't befriend the inmates like you befriend." I gave him a gospel track. Big deal. I just said, okay. Because I don't say anything like that. Back to the sleep Larry never say anything. He would be like, yes, I'm sorry. Thank you for reminding me. Thank you, Pat Menard, boss. I do whatever they ask, but they were psyop of me. I mean, it's horrible. I mean, it's really huge, and probably if there was somebody to take the case to, we could have blocked the deep state. I had that much information, right? And then the algorithms and everything. Well, we would, like then I didn't know it was the algorithms. Like if I was sat down with the FBI, you'd go like, well, there's nobody there. It's got to be the algorithm. We didn't even know. We wouldn't even know to call it the algorithm. We would have called it. It's got to be something in the system, like a virus or something. What's it doing? What is it? It's an algorithm. Like in the 90s, it's an algorithm. They call it an algorithm. But somebody's has developed the algorithm to do that. Right? Not everybody has the same algorithm. So, they become like CIA obviously has a use for it. FBI has a use for an algorithm to do something and to test something, but they're not, they're evil. They use all the good stuff for evil. Like they use the church for evil. Right. No, we could have effectively, with the information and they probably knew, with the information I had in Baltimore, Maryland, we could have launched an investigation to block the deep state. Right. And it was early enough where it was possible. Right. I surmise. So again, I didn't know anything about Microsoft being sexual. Right. So when that came out, that was the icing on the cake. Okay, so they were blackmailing Microsoft. Microsoft got taken in as part of it. Right. They're extorting Microsoft. Because in the 90s, you didn't want that information out. So Microsoft was probably the initial thrust. Right? And then the rest of the tech industry. Obviously, back then, Microsoft was the boss of the tech industry. Now it's an unholy alliance between crooked federal agents and crooked tech industry people that began in the 1990s. Thank you, Larry. I just walked off. So again, there was no need to even do anything to me. And just let me find, a wife. Right? What they do is they flood the zone with their people. Right? Like I'm not, like I suspected something was up, but I don't know. All of a sudden my yoga class in California went from maybe 15, 20 people to everybody's mat is touching. And all the women that were in there were assigned to turn me on. I mean, FBI agents, for some reason, they do it. They shouldn't be doing it. Right? No, but I'm a respectful person, so it didn't. I'm looking for a wife, and that's what I've always been looking for. Well, I'm fruitful and I need to multiply. I should have explained it to me. I should have said you thwarted his system. The deep state thwarted God's system. Get married, and even before Paul, it's obvious that was the system. And if God says you're going to be fruitful and multiply, that means you're going to need a woman, at least one. Again, God said there's supposed to be 2 or 3 women that I marry. He says that's my system. It's okay if they change it, but you have to be adult about it. So that's why. So okay. So what do you end up with? Divorce. Because you don't have to divorce the first wife. If you can marry a second wife because your first wife isn't taking care of the intimate business, then you get another wife. And it sounds crude, but it's actually God addressing biology and what might happen in any situation. So if you can have 3 wives, it pretty much take you through your life, and you'll find intimacy. Well, because some people hormonally can be fruitful and multiply. I mean, let's be just normal about it. You're all abnormal, right? Thank you, Larry. Thank you. So they know they're making men and women, and they say it's a test. I mean, it's like the Inquisition. It's insane. The Inquisition, aren't we grand? The old Mel Brooks thing, but it's real. Thank you, Larry. I'm a controlled person. I've never forced anyone to sex. I guarantee the majority of men on this planet has forced a woman to sex. And I include forced to sex, meaning she got drunk and you had sex. I had a woman force me to sex. Then the FBI or somebody reeled her in, and she was like nuts. They drugged us first, and then when they approached her, she was already drugged. Right? They sent people into Baltimore that worked in restaurants. It was sick. I have a ton of information that I don't always talk about. CIA knows how that works. Now, these people that are here, stateside CIA, they're working their mission on the side for some corrupt thing. And that corrupt thing is the beast, and it's horrible. And it's causing sex crime and everything else. It caused Omar Mateen and the Pulse nightclub shooting. Thank you, Larry. It's simple psychology. And what they're doing to me is simple psychology. So I stay controlled, but I wreck their life if I can inside. Again, they're going to have money, they're going to be propped up, but it's not going to be the way it used to be. Well, stay peaceful. That's what I do. Praise God in all that you do. Praise God.